Hi, this is Jack from Maths Forge, and in today's lesson we're going to be doing circumference of a circle. So the circumference of a circle is essentially the perimeter of a circle. It is this outside length of the circle. So for our 1-star example, we're being asked to find the circumference of this circle that has a diameter of 260 centimeters. The diameter is the length that goes through the center of the circle from one side to the other. Here we have the formula for the circumference. It's equal to pi times the diameter. Now pi is a number that is approximately 3.142. However, you can actually get the exact value of this number in your calculators by finding the button that represents pi and typing it in. So to find the circumference of this circle, we are going to do pi times the diameter. And in this case, the diameter is 260. Putting in pi times 260 into our calculators, we get an answer of 816.6 centimeters. Now for this lesson, we're going to round all of our answers to one decimal place. But most of the time, the question will ask you to give your answer to a certain degree of accuracy. And if we check our answer, there it is. Now let's do a 2-star example. Here we're being asked to find the circumference of the circle. However, they haven't given us the diameter. Instead, they've given us half of the diameter. And half of the diameter is known as the radius of a circle. So how we can actually use this with this formula to find the circumference of a circle is as follows. Another formula for circumference is 2 pi r. Now 2 times pi times r looks different to pi times diameter. And the reason for this is because if the radius is half the diameter, then the diameter is just 2 lots of the radius, 2 times the radius. And so if we replace the diameter in this formula here by 2 times the radius, we end up with this formula here. The diameter is responsible for the 2r. And so now we can use this formula to find out the circumference of this circle. The circumference of the circle is 2 times pi times the radius. And in this case, the radius is 105. Inputting this into our calculators and giving our answer to one decimal place, we get the following: 659.7 centimeters. And if we check our answer, there it is. Don't forget to include the units as well. Since circumference is just another form of length, then it will hold the same units as the radius or the diameter. Now let's do a 3-star example. Here they're asking us to find the perimeter of this semicircle. Now the perimeter of a shape is the lengths on the outside of the shape added together. They've given us the diameter of the circle, which is 202 centimeters. So now we need to find this circumference here. But don't forget that the formula for the circumference, pi times d, gives you the circumference of an entire circle. Here we only have a semicircle. So if we actually use this formula, we're not going to get the circumference for this circle directly. We're going to get the circumference for what would have been the full circle. So how can we do this? Well, we first begin by using the circumference formula, and that's going to be pi times the diameter, which in this case is 202. So this gives us 202 pi as the circumference. Now I haven't input this into my calculator just yet. I'm going to leave it as 202 pi. But if this is the circumference for a full circle, then the circumference for this circle, which is a semicircle, a half of a circle, is going to be this circumference for the full circle divided by 2. So now this simplifies to give us 202 divided by 2, which is 101 pi. And this 101 pi is the circumference of this circle here. So now to find the perimeter, it's just going to be a matter of adding our circumference and our diameter together. So we're going to have 202 plus 101 pi. And if we input this into our calculators, we should get the perimeter, which gives us 519.3 centimeters. And if we check our answer, there it is. So just be careful with the 3-star examples. Use your formula to get the circumference, but remember that this circumference would be the circumference for a full circle. Look at the circle you're dealing with. If it's a semicircle, then it's half of a circle. So half your circumference to get this length here on the outside. We'll do one more 3-star example. Here we're being asked to find the perimeter for this quarter circle. So this length here, this 121 centimeters, is the radius of the circle. This would have been the center of the circle. So if this length here is the radius of the circle, then this length here is also the radius of the circle. So we can say that this is 121 centimeters as well. The only other length we need for the perimeter is the length of this arc here, this circumference here. Now, since this is a quarter circle, I'm going to use the formula to find the circumference of a full circle, and divide it by 4, since this is a quarter circle and the quarter is divided by 4. So we need to use the formula this time for the circumference with a radius, which is going to be 2 pi r, 2 times pi times r. And the circumference for this circle is going to be 2 times pi times r, which is 121, but then divided by 4, since it is a quarter of a circle. This simplifies to give us 121 pi over 2. Now, I'm going to leave the circumference like this, but we now know that this length here is 121 pi over 2. So now we can go ahead and find the perimeter of this shape. It's going to be all of the sides added together. So we're going to have 121 plus 121 plus the curved part, which is 121 pi over 2. And putting this into our calculators, we get the following: 432.1 centimeters. And if we check our answer, there it is. And that's it for the lesson on finding the circumference of a circle.